Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started here shortly on the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show Live.
Hi, I'm Laurel Rutledge, and I would love to have you join me on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on KCOH TV, The Boost. You can find it at www.kcohradio.com. The Rutledge Perspective coming your way.
It's Tuesday morning. It's cold and rainy here in Houston. Although I guess it's kind of relative, isn't it? For those of y'all on the East Coast. But it's cold to me. Because Jerry's freezing me out.
It's 73 degrees. It's 73. You looking at the wrong number. If I get it up
She
there,
says it's 73. The thing says 65. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, can't say 75.
But we are going to get started here on the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show here shortly. Coming to you live from Houston, Texas. Historic Third Ward. Excited to be here. Really, really excited to be here. So we're gonna talk about support today and what that means to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday. It is March the 8th, 2022. You are joining me live on the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show, here from KCOH TV radio station, The Boost, in historic Third Ward in Houston, Texas. And I'm saying all of that, and I'm Laurel Rutledge, your host. I realized the other day, I'm like, I never introduced myself. I am Laurel Rutledge of the Rutledge Perspective. And I'm saying all this too, because for the first time, not only am I simulcasting, Facebook and LinkedIn, but I'm also simulcasting on YouTube. So the YouTube powers that be, just know this is an actual radio show and an actual radio station. So the music that you hear is not pirated or bootlegged or any of that. It's actually at a radio station. It is also not a music show. So I will go in and edit after. So I don't want anybody to get all heads up that they heard something and I'm trying to steal somebody's music. Okay. So that's not happening. But I'm not, this is the first time I'm simulcast the radio show on YouTube. So I want to make sure that's clear. All right. Also, for those of you on YouTube, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Time is the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show Live. And I always start with PSAs. I always talk about voting, always. So if that irritates you or frustrates you or whatever, then you can tune in 10 minutes later. But we are always going to talk about voting on this show. So, and then I got a few other PSAs, and then we'll dive in because today we're talking about what does support mean and look like to you. What does that mean? Especially, and happy International Women's Day, because it is Women's History Month, and today is International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day. So first, we do have in this month of March several global elections. Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. So please vote. And when I watch our global neighbors vote and how people will do anything to make sure that they get to vote, they and countries have holidays for voting. I mean, it's such a big deal globally, and how so many of us take for granted or just don't or decide it just doesn't matter. Or elections have consequences. Your voice matters. Your vote matters. There is going to be something that someone does that directly impacts you. Just because it doesn't impact you right now doesn't mean it won't. So please, if you are a United States citizen and you are eligible to vote, please get registered and go vote. Our primaries are over, although we do have some things going on in the States. So globally, Turkmenistan, Colombia, Somalia, Zimbabwe, Hong Kong, finally, that was supposed to be happening in February, Hong Kong. These places have votes this month. As those come up on the dates, I will try to announce those again. So those have elections coming up. So please keep your eyes and ears open and send thoughts to our global neighbors that they are able to have clear and nonviolent elections. And then for us in the U.S., in Florida, there's a District 88 and District 33. You have a House and a Senate vote today. And in North Carolina, there is a vote today. There's a primary. And then in South Carolina, House District 97. So Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, y'all get out and vote. Get out and vote. And remember, it starts locally. So we get these big, all head up, and we do all this kind of stuff for big federal elections, right? Or potentially big statewide elections. But it starts locally. It starts with your school board, who's deciding what's going to be taught in the schools to your children, who is on your city council, right? Who is your land commissioner. It starts locally. So make sure you're paying attention to those things. Make sure you are reading all the referendums. Make sure you're reading all the ballot initiatives. And if something doesn't make sense, go ask a few people. Make sure you understand what you're voting for, because often things are written in a way that what you think might be a yes actually ends up being a no. So your vote yes actually means you are saying you don't want it. So please make sure you are reading these things very, very closely before you exercise your vote, because it is your right to vote. Now, do I have an opinion? I absolutely have an opinion. But right now, the biggest thing is please get out there and get registered and get educated about what is happening, what votes are happening, what the issues are, so that you can make an educated decision, not an educated guess, an educated decision on who you want to put in office, who you want to throw your vote behind. Because elections matter. Elections matter. Elections have consequences, and we are seeing the fallout of that right now around the world. All right. So, Fireside had the first Fireside last week. It was so much fun. So I hope you guys will join me this week. It is on firesidechat.com/Laurel Rutledge. So it is still on iOS devices. So Apple, iPad, M1 Max. However, you can get to the desktop version and at least listen in. And I'm also simulcasting at 7 p.m. on my YouTube channel. So the Rutledge Perspective is my YouTube channel. So I'll be simulcasting as well. So this week, for Women's History Month, week number 2, I am talking to my Fierce Five. So you will see, you saw a post yesterday. You'll see some more posts this week. The podcast with them comes out tomorrow. It drops tomorrow morning for the Fierce Five. And then we will have the live conversation on Thursday evening. And they will join me for that. So Fireside is it's actually really cool. So there were quite a few people that showed up, lots of people that I didn't know, and apparently a lot of people on desktop. So if you have an Android device, my understanding is you can still join on a desktop somewhere, or laptop, tablet, something like that, firesidechat.com, and at least listen in. That is my understanding, that you can do that and at least listen in. You just wouldn't be able to join the show. But what I love about it is that you can be in the audience. It is interactive. Like if you clap or put an emoji or whatever, there's actually sound effects, which is really cool. And you can ask a question. And that's what I want. I want people to be able to come to the stage, ask questions, make comments, those kind of things. So we get to interact and engage on the Rutledge Perspective live conversations happening Thursday, 7 p.m. on Fireside. Firesidechat.com/Laurel Rutledge. Make sure you go in and request access early. So like today, so that you can be sure to have that access by the time we do the show on Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Central Time. Week number 2, the Fierce Five, Fireside Conversations. Also, I still have it. You have until Friday of this week to do the 15-minute chat with me to determine if you want to be one of the people I've opened my calendar up for. So I've opened my calendar and I still have a couple of spots left for people who want to do a quick one-on-one. Remember, for my 2-year anniversary, I'm doing a celebration of a 2-hour one-on-one with me, significantly discounted. And I never do 2 full hours in a one-on-one, but I'm doing 2 full hours for the 2-year anniversary that I announced on Tuesday this year. So get online. I posted it. I'll post it again. The calendar invite is in my LinkedIn. And I think it's on my Facebook page too, pinned to the top. So, but I'll make sure to do that again today. So if you would like to see if it makes sense for you to do that right now, click on the link that I will be sending out, and I'll put it also with this live when this goes up, to get on a call for 15 minutes and see if it makes sense. If I'm the person for you. And if I'm not your person, I will not be offended. I know a lot of people, so I can probably get you in touch with someone who's your person. But now is the time. Now is the time. So that is open until Friday for those options. And I have a few more spaces left. And then Clarify Your Vision Masterclass. The second quarter masterclass is coming up next Wednesday, 3/16. You'll start seeing the ads coming out soon. 3/16. for the masterclass. So that is Clarify Your Vision Masterclass. I believe that the registration button is now active on my website because it goes between join now and join the wait list and active. So I believe it's open now. If not, join the wait list and you'll get the notification that it's open. But it's registration. It is free. It is 90 minutes next Wednesday, the 16th of March from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Central Time, because I think we changed time again this weekend. I'm just not excited about that. But next weekend, I think it's this weekend. Next week, Wednesday, Clarify Your Vision Masterclass. So if you just did the alignment, and I know quite a few of you did the alignment challenge, the 5-day alignment challenge for the second quarter. This is the next step, is to do the Clarify Your Vision and the 90 minutes of really getting clear on what it is you want. Because as I told the folks last night, it is, the great resignation is real, right? It is there. This is an opportunity for people right now that hasn't been there in a long time, where employees do have probably more power now than they've had in a long time, which is wonderful. You still need to be really clear, because you can resign and go somewhere else. But if you haven't been clear on what it is you are leaving and what it is you are going to, you're going to find yourself right back in that same situation. So get clear on what it is you want. Get really clear on who you are and where you are, and then get clear on what you want before you take any kind of empowered action. Okay. So Clarify Your Vision Masterclass next week, Wednesday, 3/16, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So I want to talk about with you guys today, what does support look like and what does support mean to you? What does that mean to you? What does that word mean? And a lot of this is because we often have people, and I did recorded the last interview on Sunday with my corporate posse, and we were talking about support, especially in that corporate setting, and how important it is having your posse. And when I think about these women that I'm interviewing this month, and that I'm talking to this month, and that you will get to meet, that support takes on a very different meaning. And we often think of support as just a positive thing, right? That someone is supporting you in your endeavor, and they're excited for you, and they're making sure that they are lifting you up, and all of that is true. But support is also someone who, as one of the women said last night, someone who makes you broaden your perspective, even when they agree. So they're honest about not agreeing when they don't agree with something you're doing. But even when they agree, they will also still ask questions that are broader, that require you to think maybe a little bit bigger, to think differently, to engage in a different perspective around whatever the thing is. Support is circular. Real support is circular. Real support doesn't just pump you up and tell you everything you want to hear. Real support tells you what you need to hear. Tells you what you need to hear. And sometimes what you need to hear is somebody just really putting some wind in your sails. You just need a minute. You need some uplifting. Sometimes that's the case. But sometimes what you need from your support is some truth telling, some challenging, some real understanding of what's going on. You know, I have a really good friend. In fact, she is the person who connected me with Adrian, who got me on Adrian's show, who got me connected to Jerry, who, all that circular stuff, right? And one of the things she says, every time we talk, and every time we recommend each other to people, one of the things we always say is, look, this person is someone I recommend wholeheartedly, like without reservation, someone I recommend all the time. And if this is what you're looking for, best in the business. And if you're looking for someone who is just going to tell you what you want to hear, this is not the person. If you're looking for someone who is not going to challenge you and challenge your bias and challenge your status quo, this is not the person, right? And that's the kind of support organizations need to have. That's the importance of a true human capital function, is being able to speak the truth in an organization around what is going on, what the organization says it wants versus what is actually occurring. That is the responsibility of HR, right? There's very little that HR controls, very little. And there's very little that we can say you absolutely must or you absolutely cannot. And that's usually related to some kind of regulation, right? But you are responsible for holding the organization and helping the organization live up to what it says it wants, to call out when words and actions don't align. That's the kind of support that HR should be giving an organization and individual managers and individual employees. We should be able to support them in achieving something. We should be able to support the employee and be the employee advocate when we see that leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do. We should be able to support leaders in having to have really, really difficult conversations sometimes or make difficult decisions. We should be able to support that. Support is full circle. Support is positive. Support is direct. Support is clear because it's not unkind to be clear. And support has a focus on outcomes. What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then the support should be aligned with understanding of that achievement. It's really, really important that you think about support a little bit differently, because we often think of support is, well, you just weren't very supportive. I really expected you to be more supportive. What that really says is, I really expected you to agree with what I was doing or where I was going or what I said. That's how we tend to define support. Support is saying yes. Support is agreement. But real support is full circle. Real support is saying, I hear you. I understand. I acknowledge what you're saying, and I cannot agree with that. Or, and let me give you a different perspective. Or, okay, are you sure? Because I'm not sure that's going to get you along the path to the outcome. Help me understand a little bit better what you're doing. That's what full support is. Full support asks questions. Full support challenges. And full support lifts you up. Full support can look like ride or die. I think there's a big old meme going out right now, like, look, here's what we're about to do. We're about to, and it's so silly, right? It's like, we're about to go meet some people. We might have to hurt some people. I need you not to say anything. And then the other person says, whose car are we taking? Right? Right. That ride or die. Look, you don't have to explain nothing else. I got you. I got your back. Right. There is a kind of support like that, when about to do something crazy. Okay. Just tell me when to show up. But then there's the other support that's like, ooh, okay. Now that's real crazy. Are you sure? Because see, the consequences of that crazy may not be what you want. And I know we all see times when we're like, she must not have any real friends. Now, I know we've all said that at some point. She must not have any real friends, because why did that? Now, normally it's like, why did they let her get out of the house like that? Right? That's generally what we say. She must not have any real friends, because they would not have let her come out looking like that. But in a corporate setting, some of that is, ooh, let's talk about that meeting you just had. Let's talk about that statement you just had. Let me just pull your coat. Let's go over here, right, out of earshot of everybody, and let's just talk about that, because I don't think that was what you wanted to do or what you wanted to say. That's how that shows up in organizations. And the power of having these women that are in my village, these different circles that are in my village, is that it is full circle support. It is entirely grounded in them knowing who I am, them understanding how I want to show up and what I want to do, and then being able to support, but also being able to challenge, being able to uplift. And that challenge sometimes is saying, look, you just need to keep going. Oh, I don't know. Is this really where I need to be? I feel like this isn't going to work. You know what? No, because we see it. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep going. Pray about it and keep going. Stay in action. Keep going. That's support. So we've got to think about defining it more than just somebody telling us what we want to hear. Because sometimes the folks that are telling you what you want to hear are not actually being supportive. Sometimes the folks who are telling you just what you want to hear are waiting and plotting and supporting your downfall. You have to be discerning about who's in your posse, who's in your village, who's in your tribe. You have to be discerning about that stuff. Because just like not all help is helpful, because not all help is helpful, not all support is supportive. Sometimes support is supporting you right down that path that's going to get you somewhere you don't want to be. Because then that leaves room for that other person to be the hero or to jump in or just to, as they say, lay in the cut. Isn't that what they say, dude? Yeah. Right? It's an opportunity for somebody else to be waiting, lying in wait for their opportunity to take over because they supported you going right down that hill and over the cliff. And then the response will be, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think that would happen. Really? You have to be discerning. Don't be so desperate for support that you are not discerning and your eyes and ears aren't open. Right? Desperation is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing. And the support thing even came full circle. It always comes full circle, but it was really evident today. I was listening to 1A on NPR, because y'all know I love NPR. I was listening to 1A, and they were talking about this whole idea of propaganda and censorship in Russia. And even in the US, and how messages get out or don't get out, and who says what and what words are used and all that kind of madness. And what I started thinking about was, in this area of support and what support means to you, is how are we having those conversations when we know someone really close to us or someone that we thought highly of, someone that we had an opinion of, begins to really either censor language or believe the big lie or whatever? How do we support that person? And how do we also support our own sanity? Because full circle support also means supporting your own sanity, your own self-care, putting your mask on first. That's also support. Knowing when it's time to just say, I need a minute. Right? I was talking to some people last night and I was like, and one of them said, I'm really introverted and it's just difficult for me. And I said, well, you're talking to an introvert. You're talking to an introvert. I am professionally extroverted, but I get my energy by myself or with really, really small groups. I have to manage my energy and find ways and times to be quiet and to be still, to recharge. I do not recharge with other people. Right. And as you heard, if you listened to the podcast last week, and I encourage you to go back, and more importantly, go on the website and watch the video so you can see the women. My ride or die womb to the tomb, who's been there with me. Literally, we have a picture of ourselves in the bassinet, is the social butterfly. Two of them are actually the social butterflies. They have never met a stranger. They love people. They love engaging with people and talking and getting out there. I would rather pluck out my eyelashes. I don't want to go to the corporate party. I don't want to. And not because I don't like to be social, but just all of that, absorbing all of that energy from all the madness is just a lot for me. And I don't do idle chit chat. I don't do idle chit chat. That's just frustrating, right? Now, I also know that it is important to get out there to engage in community, because if I want to serve, I have to be out there. And so it's a matter of the same person I told you about. She says, she is highly introverted too. And she says, Laurel, the way I network, and she hates networking. She said, but the way I've changed it in my mind is I walk into rooms thinking, help me find the person that I can serve. The one person in this room that I am here to serve. Help me find them, right? And I thought, that's a really great way to think about that. It's not about having to meet everybody and be everything. And is there one person in this room that I can serve? And how do I find them? Well, I have to talk to people in order to find the person I can serve. But if my mindset is around service, then I can find the support I need internally. I can support myself internally and support my energy internally to engage. Because it's not about, oh, I got to talk to people and I got to be on and I got to put my mask on. I got to do all that. That irritates me. It is, no, my whole purpose is to be in service. And so if that's true, if I really mean that, then when I walk into that room, what I'm looking for is, how can I serve? Because there's someone in here that needs to be served. How can I do that? Right? Having that ability to have support to reframe the things that are in your mind, to reframe the things that are challenges for you. Because sometimes it's not about pushing through or getting over something, right? Just change. There are habits we need to change, but it's not always about changing something or not doing something anymore. Sometimes it is about reframing something in a way that is authentic to who you are, but enables you to use it as a support as opposed to a hindrance. So I am not going to all of a sudden be a social butterfly. I'm not. That's just not how I am. But I can reframe my energy usage to be, how can I best use my energy to serve, as opposed to, man, that is really going to sap all my energy. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. Reframing it to, does this make sense for me to do this because it is an opportunity to serve, right? We talked about that on the show a few weeks ago. When you don't want to do something, having the conversation with yourself to say, do I not want to do it because I'm just being contrary and stubborn? Or do I not want to do it because really it doesn't feel like it's the right thing to do right now, right? I truly don't have the energy or the engagement or the ability. I don't have the ability to can at this moment, right? If that is true, then just don't. But if it's just because you're being contrary or just being stubborn, maybe you need to rethink that. Put your face on, dress up, dress extra, and just go and show up and be able to serve. You know, my mom used to always tell me, and still tells me, on those days you feel the worst, make an extra effort to look your best, or you're going to look worse than you feel. And it's amazing how just getting up, getting in the shower, getting dressed, putting your face on, putting your hair up, ironing your clothes, it's amazing how just those things, those activities can serve to change an attitude. Again, support is full circle. How do you support yourself in the actions that you're trying to take? How do you support yourself in showing up the way you want to show up and doing the things you want to do? We've got to broaden that definition of support. Support isn't just agreement. That's real nice. But do you really want to surround yourself with yes people? That's the problem with a lot of leaders. They surround themselves with yes people because they've created a culture of fear. So heaven forbid you tell the emperor he has no clothes, because you find yourself, out in the square getting shot. But true leaders want people who will tell them the truth, want people who are supportive enough of their leadership and trust enough in their leadership to be able to speak truth to power. And they've created an environment where they want that. They want real support, because real support is circular. It is broad. It is not just agreement. In fact, the biggest piece of real support is telling you when the emperor has no clothes. That's real support. It's people not letting you fall into the ditch. They're warning you. They're your warning signs that there's something coming down the road that you need to be prepared for. That's real support. And it's important that we are able and willing to give ourselves and to give others that kind of support. Because only through that are we able to make some things happen, right? Sorry, y'all, I have to adjust here. Only through that are we able to make some things happen that are along the lines of what we say we want. Because none of us gets through this alone. None of us gets through this alone. I'm okay. I got my scarf, Jim. It's all good. I don't know why. It's all good. I don't know. So, as we're talking about this idea of support, and it's Women's History month, and it's International Women's Day. The theme for International Women's Day is break the bias. Hashtag break the bias. I'm seeing that on everything. Think about the women in your circles and how you can support them, how you can break the bias. Now, I see people posting about break the bias. There were a ton of posts this morning with hashtag break the bias on LinkedIn talking about bias, again, full circle, not just gender bias, but bias with a big B, right? Ethnic, racial, gender, sexual orientation, all that kind of bias, religious bias, all bias with a big B, which, okay, that's great. And we should break the bias, and then we all have them. We all have biases. We all do. Here is my caution when we're talking about support and what support really looks like. Often we couch our ignorance, and I mean ignorance, not deliberate lack of knowledge, but ignorance truly out of exposure experience. We cloud that, or our fear of saying something wrong or doing something wrong, or our reluctance to actually make a definitive decision or to take specific action in this cloak of, but let's talk about all bias. The same thing happens in DE&I, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion. Well, and now they add a B, belonging. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. When people don't want to talk about the hard part of diversity, which is inclusion, they say, well, but we want diversity of thought. We want diversity of experience. We don't want just gender and ethnic diversity. We want all diversity. Well, on the surface, that sounds really, really great and accurate. Of course, we want everyone to be able to have an opportunity. And we won't even talk about inclusion right now, because that's the real hard part of diversity. It's not getting the people there. It's making sure they feel included. But here's the thing about having that. We want big D, right? We want everything, diversity of thought, diversity of experience. And I believe in that, especially in the organizations that I've been in. You hire people because they've seen things and done things that you haven't. And then you just completely slam them when they get there and try to assist you. Then you get into the, well, we've never done it that way, or that can't be possible because you've never seen it before. But the challenge of doing that so broadly is that it kind of whitewashes, or it eliminates the need to focus on the ones that are hard. The ones that are hard. It is hard to deal with racial diversity. It is hard to deal with supremacy. It is hard to deal with the really deep-seated stigmas and stereotypes that exist. Because that means you have to be willing to confront your own bias. You have to be willing to own it. You have to be willing to call it, and you have to be willing to say something about it. So when I see hashtags like break the bias, on the surface, I'm like, that's great. We should be doing everything we can to break the bias. All bias. Agreed. Absolutely. And let's not turn that into an excuse for, well, it's all bias. Well, it's all. Okay, well, yes. But there are some things that are much more difficult. And by saying all, and by having the brush be so broad, it enables you to only deal with the things that are easy. And being a woman, I will say this because I am a woman. Gender diversity is easy. Equity is easy. And we find that a lot. I can go and hire a woman and say, I've got a diverse staff. And we just do it. We say that we're good. That's the easy part. But is she a Black woman? And if you're really talking about diversity, have you opened it up so that you're not automatically saying, oh, I don't know, because they graduated from an HBCU, so their education isn't going to be as good, which is a lie. or they graduated from a state school, or the contrary to that, they graduated from a Harvard, Yale, MIT, Stanford, so they must be more intelligent or better. That also is a fallacy. It's the bias of over expectations, right? Bias is everywhere. Bias is circular. And that's why support needs to be circular. Support needs to be broad. Because support is addressing all of those pieces too. Support is about understanding what is really happening. What is really going on? Oh, we got a guest. Live radio. We got a guest in studio, y'all. I'm so excited. Dr. Cynthia J. Hickman and Joey. So when you're thinking about how you want to really address, breaking the bias or supporting people and being supportive of people who are in your organizations, that support shows up full circle. That support means looking around the table when you're having a meeting, and is everybody who needs to be in that meeting invited to that meeting? Have you really gone and looked at your spheres of influence and understand who needs to be there? Or are you only allowing certain people in the meeting and then you're just disseminating information after that? Full circle support means when you have a major project, who are you putting on that project? Only the people you know, which I would guess would be people who look just like you or people you've worked with for 30 years. What about that new person that just joined the organization? What about that person who is less experienced that you, since you say you're a great leader and a great mentor and you develop great talent, how come everybody on your project has been working there 30 years? What about the person that has been there 6 months? But you hired because they have really great potential, right? Support means enabling yourself to be put in a situation where you are not necessarily the expert. You are okay with having someone else fill the gaps, because full support is broad. Full support is circular. You need to support you, but you need people around you who are going to fill the gaps for you. And first, you're going to identify that you have them when you can't. That's real support. But we convince ourselves that if someone isn't telling us what we want to hear, they're not being supportive. They're not thinking about it. I had someone the other day, I was like, man, here's what I'm thinking, and here's what I'm looking at for my business, and here's what I'm working. And they got really quiet. And I'm like, I just need you to believe in me. And they're like, oh no, I absolutely believe in you, but I also believe in real numbers. And I'm like, okay, point taken. Point taken. I don't know what the numbers are yet, but I'm working on it. And they were like, okay, we understand. And we believe in you because we know you and we know you'll get there. But I'm not like excited and jumping up and down because you haven't shown me any numbers yet. You haven't shown me anything yet. You've just shown me your vision. You've shown me your beliefs. You show me the work that you're doing. How are we going to turn that around and make it real? And that's a valid question. That's what support looks like. Support challenges. Support challenges, right? It is important that when you look at your circle, that those people that you allow in with full vision, and that you allow in with an expectation of reciprocity, because that also begins to build that ability to trust and support. So, this group that I have, and it's got to be a safe space, or as one of the women you'll hear tonight says, brave spaces. The picture that I posted and that you'll see is a picture in Jamaica. And one of the women who was working in the house that we rented, took the picture, and it was fabulous. The whole thing, she took several, and they were all fabulous. But this particular one I like, and we're all kind of looking over the infinity pool and we're looking out at the ocean. And what's interesting about this whole support mechanism is these 5 women, the fierce 5 that went with me, when I did this, we had all been going through something that year. So this was 2018. We'd all been going through something, some kind of transition, some kind of something, all of us. And I wanted it to be just a retreat to just be. And even when I sent out the thing and said, hey, here's where we're going, and here's the house and all this kind of stuff, I said, the most important thing is to just show up where you are. This is a place of no judgment. This is a place where we can relax and rejuvenate and just be. And I knew, there was this big pool and didn't know if we were going to go to the ocean. We made no plans because I wanted it to be just really free. And then what I told them when I got there, and the power for me in the picture of that pool, is that was the first time that I had on a swimsuit since I was 14.
Fast.
14. And right. And I wasn't excited about putting it on, right? I wasn't where I wanted to be, none of that, but I did it. And because it was a space of support, a brave space, a safe space, a space where you could just be and could enjoy, right? And so when you talk about what support means to you, where are those places where you can show up and address and step dead center into one of your biggest fears or your biggest insecurities, whether that's work or that is personal? If it's work, you have got to find that corporate posse, and you'll hear from them in week 4. You have got to find that corporate posse. I'm telling you, whether it's nonprofit or for profit, you have got to find that posse that is a place and a safe space for you to just vent. And especially the more senior you are in an organization, because not only is it lonely at the top, there's so much that that you just cannot share. Not only because it's not for public consumption, right? In some cases, it is actually a problem, right? A violation to share some things, depending on what industry you're in. But also, especially if you're in HR or if you're in legal, there's information that that if you share it, you actually hurt people, right? You hurt organizations. So not only is it a legal challenge, but you could really cause some damage. So you've got to find that posse where you can vent, where you can have a safe space, a brave space to really work through the challenges. And there's going to be anger, there's going to be tears, there's going to be all that kind of stuff. And you need that posse to help you. You need your Fierce Five. You need your village. So in this International Women's Day, and in particular, Women's History Month, I encourage all of you, all of the women that are listening, who is in your village? Who is your support? And really examine what you are expecting of them. Are you expecting them to just always agree with you? Is that the support you need? Because if that's the case, no judgment, right? Just know what you got. Know what you got. Because if what you want is to surround yourself with people who are just going to tell you yes, that's a choice, but we're not free from the consequences of those choices. So those people that are just going to tell you yes all the time will keep telling you yes as you walk right off that cliff. And then when you get mad, they'll say, but you wanted me to just be supportive. You didn't want to hear what I tried to tell you. So you can't be mad at them because they did what you asked them to do. And got mad at them for not doing it. I also want you to examine the circle of women, because it is a lie to say that women don't support women. That's a lie. Women do support women. The challenge is we like to speak in absolutes. It's not that all women don't support women. It's that you got to find your circle. Because there are going to be women who will pretend to be supportive and are just waiting for your downfall. So you have to be discerning enough to know that. But women do support women. Women lift women up. Women are incredible. Women are amazing. Women exercise feats of just genius. So find your support. Find your support. And it is okay. We've talked about this a number of times on the show. Your village is your village. It is okay to have someone move out of your village or to evict them from your village. It's all right. Because people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Bye, Felicia. Right. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Try not to make lifetimes out of seasonal folks. because they really are there for a season, and learn what you're supposed to learn. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to like evict with guns a-blazing, but sometimes you just have to walk away, or you just put things in the right perspective. You just don't go visit that house very often. Maybe that's a house you go to once a year as opposed to once a week. Maybe that's a call you make every once in a while just to check. It's not that you hate the person. You just have to limit your exposure. But it is International Women's Day, International Day of the Woman, right? And it is Women's History Month. Go find your women. Go find your tribe. Go lift them up. Go support them. And allow them, I'm talking to you, my type A insecure overachievers, allow them to support you. Ask for the help you want. Ask for the support you need. And then listen to the answer. So when someone asks you, okay, you asked me this question, I have a response. Not sure you want to hear it. Do you want to hear it or not? Answer the question. Be ready to let people support you in the best way for you. Because those people that are in your village, because they are really meant to be in your village, are going to be there for your good. Even if that means telling you something you don't want to hear. Support is not agreement. Support is support. Support is honesty. Support is trust. Support is candor, right? Support is perspective. Support is enabling yourself to be educated about things. Support is alleviating ignorance. Support is addressing the hard biases, not just the ones that are easy. That's what support is. Support is ensuring that everyone in your circle gets an opportunity to be there in the way that they can show up. It's allowing folks to put on a swimsuit for the first time since age 14 and being supportive of that. It's allowing everyone to be who they are and expecting nothing more than civility and honesty and integrity. I mean, when I look at my village, that's it, right? I'm not expecting anybody to be anything other than who they are. And we are all honest. We're all supportive, right? We lift each other up. We ask questions, all of them to a person. I've had numerous conversations that are like, Laura, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't think so. Have you considered this? I would really do something different. I'm not sure that makes sense. All of them to a person. We've had that conversation. And that's important because we can get in our own head, especially for those of you who are individual contributors or for those of you who are building a business, right? There's a lot of, as they say to truck drivers, right? There's a lot of windshield time. There's a lot of time alone. There's a lot of time in your own head. Find those people around you who can listen to what you say when you put it out in the universe and replay it to you in a way that you can actually hear it. That's the beauty of therapy. A lot of therapy is about talking and then having it replayed to you so you can actually hear it, because we don't often hear what we're actually saying because we're really busy speaking. Our brain is focused on speaking, not necessarily on listening to what we're saying. So when someone repeats it to you or parrots it back to you or tells you, okay, let me tell you what I understood you to say, that's how we get clear. One mouth, two ears, right? The speaking sometimes prevents us from actually hearing what we've said. And so by having that village, that support system, you have a mechanism where you can get things back that you have said. You can hear what you've said, right? You can experience what you've said because it'll be played back to you in one way or another, in words and deeds. It'll be played back to you. And so if things are going kind of haywire, you can take that and say, whoa, wait, what did I say? What did I do? How did I show up? What caused that thing to happen? It's really important for you to think about that support mechanism full circle. And if you're in a position where what you really need is just someone to agree with you, that support, that's the kind of support you need. Okay. Again, no judgment. Just know what you're asking for. Because we all get in those points too, where we're just like, I just need you to hear me, right? I just need you to be there. I just need you to show up. Okay. And we all have friends who will just do that. And they'll say nothing else. They'll just be there. And then when you're ready to talk about it deeper and to evaluate and to examine, they'll be there for that too. Because they care about you enough and they are important enough people in your circle. And they believe enough in what you're doing that they're willing to do what you need them to do at that time. Even if that is just saying, okay, I got you. Ride or die. Whose car are we taking? Right? Let's just make it happen. That's that person. That's that person. Or that person who's saying, you know what? I know you don't want to go, but we're going. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And then hangs up on you so you don't have a choice. Right? That's full support. That's full support. And many times it changes as you begin to change. As you are beginning to evolve, the people around you and the support you need absolutely evolves, but the people around you evolve. And that's how you know your real, true, deep circle, that inner circle, because the inner circle doesn't change. The inner circle doesn't change. It's the circles outside of that morph and move, right? They go in and out. That inner circle, that true ride or die circle, that doesn't change. Because that circle evolves with you. Because that circle is connected to you. It's different. That level of support is different. And I wish all of you that kind of support, that kind of village. The village that says, we got you. The village that says, woo, let's rethink that. That village, right? That support system. And I want you all to go out and let me know. I would really love for you guys some point during this month to join the fireside. Because I really want to see and hear, bring your ride or die. Bring your team, right? I want to hear from you guys. What is it that connected you? How is support showing up for all of you? Who are your Fierce Five? Who are your friends for life, right? Who's your corporate posse? Who's your sister circle? I want to know. Come join. I want to hear it. I want to see what you're doing because we all learn from that. And I think there's power in showing people who are earlier in their career or people who are just earlier in their lives that developing these relationships, these really tight circles, is critical to your personal and professional success. You need those folks around you. Sometimes that is family. Sometimes that's blood. And sometimes it's folks that are so close to you, they may as well be. Right? But it's important. I want you guys to show up and really be a beacon. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. And when the message that you have to share is the exact message they needed to hear. And you may never know. They may never say anything. There may be somebody who's quote unquote stalking you for decades. And you are making such a profound impact on them. You are being such an amazing support for them. And you'll never know it. But if you keep showing up, if you keep being a support for your circle, you never know where that's going to take you. You never know what impact that's going to make. You never know how far you're going to go with that support and how far your entire circle is going to go because you're all interconnected. You're all interconnected. All right, we want to do shout outs because I didn't do that earlier. So we're going to do some shout outs for all of y'all watching the Rutledge Perspective. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I didn't post on Friday, but I did post on Saturday. So for those of you who are global, you can also join Fireside. I mean, it is a global platform. So it is 7 p.m., which is going to be hard for some places across the world because that's going to be like midnight, 1 a.m. It's going to be some kind of crazy time for some of you guys. But I would love for you to join as well.
We have Dallas-Fort Worth tuned in, Kansas City, Missouri tuned in, Austin, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Sarasota, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Indianapolis is tuned in on today. Finland is coming up in great numbers on today. Mexico, Germany on today. Brazil. We have France and we have the Iran. We have United Kingdom. We have Jamaica. We have Australia tuned in on today.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Jamaica, I'm coming back. 2023, Montego Bay. We will be there for sure. I am claiming it now that we are going to be there in 2023. A revisit of the Fierce Five. Good morning, Mama Young. We are going to be back in 2023. Lord says the same. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love spending this time with you guys. And I really, I know it seems simple and I keep harping on it, but I want you to really think about how you are defining support. Because the world is really crazy right now. And there are a lot of people who are acting out because they got folks around them who are supporting their madness. They got folks around them who are not speaking truth to power. We see that. We see that in many of our leaders. Whether it's fear or self-preservation or because they just want that person to be able to do it because it's really what they want. Support. I really want you to redefine support. Think about what real support means. Because having yes people around you, that's not real support. It's not. It may get you what you think you want, but what is the real impact of that ultimately? And what landmines are you going to run into and step on because you don't have anyone around you who's ready to say, oop, that's a landmine. You might not want to go there. For those of you who are in corporate America, either for-profit or nonprofit, right? In whatever organizations you're in where you're working there, find your support person who's going to help you get through the landmines. Political savvy is critical as you move through your career. It's not just about your technical expertise. The further you go up in the organization, it is much more about your leadership and your political savvy. Much more. How you navigate is much more important. It's one of the things I talk to my clients about all the time. Right? How are you navigating this situation? In the Itty Bitty Book of Words, that's actually the word that I chose, navigation. So I'm published in the Itty Bitty Book of Words. My word is navigation, right? She who finds a way, no matter the circumstances. That's a navigator. That's a navigator. Finds a way through, no matter what the circumstances. And it may not be a direct route.
Latasha Johnson said, this is good because some people don't move on certain things because they don't feel that they have the support and the people they may need even are going to be there.
Yes, I agree. It is, especially when you're doing something really difficult, having that support is critical to be able to know that you have a little bit of a safety net. Even if it's not, a financial, even if you can have just an emotional safety net, that if it goes sideways, you at least got somebody to go cry to. That's critical.
Now, when you talked about your inner circle is going to always be there, your ride or dies are always going to be there. Do you believe that even in changes of life, because I know for me personally, there are certain people that I needed in certain stages in life. Do you believe that those things can change as you begin to evolve?
Absolutely. When I talk about inner circle, I mean those true people that you may not talk for a year, you may not talk for 6 months, you may not, but it just picks up. Right? When you do reach out again, there is a deep connection. When it's your inner circle. And then there are people who may be tight, right? You are really close and tight with, but it's a season. It's a season. And there was a need at the time, either both sides or one-sided. And sometimes that does go away. That's not good or bad. It just is. But that inner circle, that true, tight inner circle, that doesn't change. That doesn't change. Those are the people that have gone through lots of stuff with you. And it's not necessarily, the inner circle isn't necessarily just people that you grew up with. I am very blessed to have women that I literally have known since our mothers were pregnant, right? That are really tight with me. That's not everybody's story. Sometimes that person is someone who came to you, in elementary school or high school or your first job or whatever. That sometimes that's where that happens. But there is a connection. We know innately the difference. There's a connection that is so deep that no matter what happens, that person, when that phone rings, that person is going to pick up that phone call. And even if they can't get there immediately, they know somebody who knows somebody, they're going to figure it out. That's inner circle. But yeah, those other things, they will move. Reason, season, or lifetime. And that's okay. It's okay. Because again, sometimes you got to evict people. Sometimes you will be evicted from somebody else's circle.
And that's true. And you said about being discerning about your circle, because sometimes we have called circles cliques, when really people have a right to get along with who they get along with,
Absolutely.
or understand who they understand, or can work with who they want to be working with. So we got to get away from that sometimes, calling a circle a clique just because they, and you may not fit. You say it all the time. You said, I may not be the one for you.
Absolutely.
But I can refer you to who is for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're getting the Alpha Kappa Alpha is having the South Central Regional Conference here in Houston next week. And it's, you know, thousands of women. It's the South Central region. And we are all sorority sisters. We are all members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. That does not mean we all love each other, right? We are sisterly. We are respectful. We engage because we believe in the organization. We believe in the sisterhood. That doesn't mean all over hundreds of thousands of women around the globe are best friends or inner circle. That's not what that means, right? And that's not realistic. But there's also an ability to be mutually respectful and supportive without being inner circle. That's what sisterhood means. All right, y'all.
Can we do this before you go? Because, and I want to say that one more thing too about their support when you said that. And I think that we as women or sisters and people in business, to help the person, if you know they don't have knowledge in this area, to share, because I know for myself, a lot of times you wanted that information and you've asked and people are like, oh yes, here's the thing, and then move on and don't say anything.
Right.
So I try my best, if I have some knowledge or some wisdom that somebody needs, why not share it? Because we're all in this thing together. Now, I have some knowledge and wisdom that Cynthia K. Hickman is here. Because, I mean, Cynthia Hickman, whatever. Cynthia J. Hickman, okay. It's here because last week I took a little nap and didn't wake up to get you a little something for your little whatever. Okay, you've been here 2 years, okay? You've been here 2 years, so we didn't get a chance to celebrate. So Cynthia, come on. I've asked some other people to come. They were supposed to stand outside with the window, but then something came up. They're not here. Don't worry about it. Something came up and she had to take her mom to the doctor. They want to have a sign out there. Make it kind of a good morning kind of feel. Good morning, America kind of feel. But I wanted Cynthia to come. She got Joy up in here. You grab Joy. I wanted Cynthia to come to say what she has learned listening to the Rutledge perspective for these last 2 years. And Joey, nobody else bring a dog up in here. Joey he's special. He on that stuff. Joey's so we have to watch it. So go ahead, Cynthia.
Joy, would you like to say something to Laura before? Say hello. Say hello.
Hey, Joy, go get us put up.
Laura. I have known you for a little over a year now, and you have blessed me in many ways. I have to tell you that you have allowed me, through your words, to pay attention to my inner self and my outer self. That takes courage, because I think as women, we want to be everything to everyone.
Yes.
And by doing so, we forget to check ourselves.
Yes.
I have enjoyed listening to your words of wisdom. I have enjoyed learning that I am able to conquer things once I know who I am.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
You have blessed me. Now, I want to let you know I have a couple shout outs to you.
Yes.
Dr. Pearson, who's in Albany, New York, excited for you. Congratulations to you.
Thank
Bo
you.
Baby, who you don't know, but you will know.
Yes.
Is going to say congratulations to you because you are allowing us to grow and grow.
Oh.
And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so
Congratulations
much.
on your 2 years of KCOH. We are happy for you.
Thank you.
Don't stop.
I will not. I'm gonna keep showing up. As long as y'all keep showing up, I'll keep showing up. And y'all, you have to follow Dr. Cynthia J, because she is moving and shaking, right? Your caregiver extraordinaire, right? She is truly advocating for the challenges and the love, right, that it takes to be a caregiver. She is the caregiver advocate.
But you need to know it's not about me today, but I will say you have allowed the caregiving mindset to grow. And that has really helped me, because in my quest to help others, you have to self-care.
Yes.
And you speak about that a lot. And the village that may or may not fit, it's okay. That's self-care. Removing yourself from the equation is self-care. And so you just need to know you're a go-getter.
Well, thank you.
And KCOH is proud to have you.
You can't say
And
first.
so and your KCOH allowed me to come and tell you how proud we are of you.
I love it.
Lift people up. That's the good thing about JP.
Yes.
She called me and said, "You got to come. We want to surprise her because she fell asleep last week."
Right.
But we wake now.
Yes, we are.
And finally, we need to give you your flowers while
Thank you.
you yet live.
Thank you. That is so important. And y'all, I have no idea. I mean, I'm
She
so.
got you something.
Oh,
She
thank
got it.
you. Y'all, I'm going to open it on the air.
Yeah,
Okay,
open it. I'll show you what Bo Baby
Okay,
gave
Watch
you.
it now.
Bo Baby, you don't know who he is, but you will. Bo Baby sent you some socks.
Oh,
Y'all,
ooh.
my feet are cold all the time.
Oh,
Look,
she
And
should
the
have had that before the show.
that makes me so happy.
Yes.
Oh, and they got the little stuff on the bottom. Mudflux. I
So
love
check
some
out Bo
mudflux.
Baby. We are teaching Bo Baby to give back. He's a youngster coming up, but we're teaching him
I
about
love
community
it.
and giving and sharing.
I love it.
That's
Send me a
from me.
DM. I want to meet you, Bo Baby.
That's from me.
Oh,
I love it.
I love flowers. And
I do
you like
too.
flowers.
You know, and I almost wore a flower in my hair this morning
Girl.
with my
you
bun.
say?
I love it.
Proud
I
of you,
sure
JP.
did. I'm going to put it on.
And your proactive caregiver, Evan, needs to let you know
That's
we
awesome.
all need a black book of important information.
Yes.
That's
Y'all, did y'all see this? I love it. Y'all need to get this. I'm telling you. I love it. Thank y'all so much. This was just amazing. And I'm going to read my card later.
Well, we do want to say on behalf of KCOH TV, The Boost, it has been a true pleasure, Laurel, being here in the Helms with you for the last 2 years. You're a bubbling of energy. We've grown to really know one another. I can tell you, don't come in here with all that. And so I've enjoyed this and the Rutledge perspective, and for the viewers and the listeners, we have grown tremendously over the globe, and I'm looking forward to more. As you said, you had a vision by 5 years.
Yes.
So we're going to toast to
Cheers.
the Rutledge perspective.
Yes.
Give Joy a little taste, and to the listening audience all over the world, we want you to take an imaginary toast with us
Yes.
as we salute and pray for the efforts of Laura Rutledge as God expands her territory.
Amen.
We want her to know that we truly support her
Thank
in the way
you.
we know
I
how
claim
to
it.
support.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank y'all. Yay.
This
It's
is
sparkling
apple juice.
cider.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I love it. Thank y'all. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dr. Cynthia.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And Joey. Little Joey. And JP.
And
JP Beasley.
JP.
And KCOH TV Radio, The Boost, here in the historic Third Ward, Houston, Texas. I am honored. I am humbled. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. I am so appreciative, and I cannot wait to continue to do this show and to continue to meet all of you. So please send me DMs, send me notes, follow me, come do my stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I will see you guys. The podcast drops tomorrow morning, and then I'll see y'all on Fireside Thursday evening. Take care, y'all.
Celebration
Bye.
time. Come on.
Love ya.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in.